Welcome back. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. You are listening to the Mara Mukunda show on Islam Media. So, when we hear about botched, just the word itself, botched, we always think about that TV show on not ETV, that E channel, entertainment channel, and all of the botched operations that goes on there. But we've also seen other operations on other channels of how. Items were left in people's bodies, or something went wrong. Perhaps it was a silicone, or perhaps they used something else instead. And people go for the recovery, surgery to try and reverse what had happened to them, etc. But we never think that such things would happen close to us, close to home in South Africa, until it happens to somebody you know, and then it becomes a cause for concern. Now, CJ Carrington is a South African born nature lover with a postgraduate qualifications in agriculture. Um, Her work includes teaching sustainable organic farming to rural communities, and she has traveled across Africa as well. And she's here to talk to us about her situation and what happened there with her botched mammogram. That was it was it well, so much, like I'm even so confused at all of this here. But anyway, CJ is here to tell us more about the situation. Good morning, CJ.
Good morning, Mariam.
Thank you for joining me. All right, now start off by telling us what exactly happened. What happened in the first place that caused this whole botched mammogram and this saga that is happening in your life right now?
Well, Mariam, I was first diagnosed in 2010 with breast cancer, and I
Mm-hmm.
went on to do a complete alternative protocol, which resulted in complete healing. I was pretty much cancer-free and tested completely clear in 2010. There was a tumor that was there, but it was inactive and it was 11 millimeters big. And that pretty much stayed completely dormant for a huge amount of time. In 2016, I have decided that I need to go back just for a checkup, and they could not find anything once again with the needle biopsy and with the normal sonar or with a mammogram, and they sent me for something called a mammogram assisted biopsy, which basically means that your breast is compressed inside the mammogram machine while they cut into it. This is done under local anesthetic, but really they should not even bother because it's just incredibly painful. So they made 12 incisions into my breast and took out I think it was about 12 square centimeters of um, tissue that they then took out to test. Now, the old people will tell you that you don't give cancer oxygen because that'll make it grow. Now, the tumor
Mm-hmm.
having been dormant for close on 6 years suddenly went from 11 millimeters in December when the mammogram was done to 52 millimeters on in February, 2 months later, when the mastectomy was done. I looked like a truck had hit me after that procedure, and I was absolutely not prepared for it, not prepared for the pain or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I, to this day, believe that that one procedure is the cause of everything that happened afterwards. So it's just, I get emotional when I think back about it because it's a big thing.
Of course, I mean, it is a big thing because your life was normal before that, and then all of a sudden this happened. How has it changed your life, and how are you doing things now that you previously could do, but now because of this you aren't able to do?
Well, as a result of that, obviously they then did the mastectomy and I had to go for radiation. There was a lot of nerve damage done to my body during the operation, and I guess as part of the radiation, which resulted in what's called a frozen shoulder on my left side. So I could not use my left arm for an extended period of time, more than a year, where I couldn't even tie my own hair or get dressed or whatever on my own. I still cannot sleep on my left side. My shoulder has pretty much recovered, but as a result of all the surgeries and everything that followed, it's just incredibly painful. And I do live with a constant pain level of about 4 out of 10.
Wow. So sorry about your situation. So you went to a state hospital, right?
That is correct.
So since then, have you reported to the hospital? If so, what has the state done? Any information, any positive feedback on that?
Well, it's a very difficult situation because I still want to finish my treatment. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to upset the wrong people, if you know what I mean. And that's typically the
Yes.
situation that whistleblowers find themselves in because I still need their treatment. And so I
Mm-hmm.
cannot make too much of it. I There are so many things that happened as a result of that that I then ended up trying to report that that's not even the worst of it. That was just the start of it. I'm talking about things like after a 10-hour operation in the ward, there's no water, and you don't get water and you don't get taken to the restrooms for 2 days after your operation because it's just, there's just no, they just don't care. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
so many things. But to come back to your question, I was supposed to, because 50% of my lymph nodes tested positive during the
Mm-hmm.
surgery, it means that the cancer was already spreading into my lymph nodes. And that meant that I had to have radiation within 3 weeks to 2 months, is pretty much the international protocol for starting radiation. Um, After 4 months, I could not take it anymore. And I did try and you know, go there and sort it out. It just so happens that at that day, on that day, when I was trying to sort out the radiation issues, I met another baby that needed help, baby Godswill, and my life took a different turn in that I helped him.
Mm-hmm.
But as a result of helping him, my profile on social media really rose, and I was then able to afford radiation privately through a fundraiser. But the point is
Mm-hmm.
that I spent 4 hours in the complaints department at the specific hospital, and I was told that I would absolutely have feedback within 20 working days. Well, to this day, I still don't have feedback, and that's 2 years later. So it's just a continuous botching of both the care and the administration in this specific facility. And patients don't get given the correct information and they don't get given any resources to deal with it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. I know just from simple things like a patient having a missing file and having to restart the procedure again. That is something that's supposed to be sorted out many years ago. Why do we still have that problem of missing files in this day and age? I mean, we thought that things would have improved already, but we are now 10 steps or even 20 steps back than where we once were. So, have you still been going for treatment with the COVID-19 virus and everything?
No, absolutely not. The last time that I was there, I had surgery in January, and it was very traumatic as well because I'm allergic to a specific type of dressing that they use. And,
Mm-hmm.
you wear the allergy band, etc. And they just did not have any dressings in stock that they could use on me. So when I woke up, I was bleeding from 5 places in my body because they just didn't dress it. And I was given a piece of plastic to stand on next to my bed where I could bleed on. And I had to call my family to bring me dressings so that I could stop the blood and dress my own wounds. It is just crazy what's happening there. So when I was actually standing next to the bed, I was like, I can't do this. And it was like a switch in my brain. And I said, that's it, I'm done. So the only thing that I did is I went for the follow up to make sure that that operation was a success and, the wounds are healing perfectly. And that was 3 weeks after the operation. And that was just at the start of COVID worldwide. And I looked at the place and I said, I'm not even coming back for blood tests here during this. It also is one of the quarantine facilities for COVID. So, you know, I mean, it's such a huge risk to go there, especially if you compromised in any kind of way with a comorbidity of cancer or diabetes or asthma or anything like that. I just don't. And I ended up having to pay for private blood tests in July and a private screening so that I could just make sure that my status quo is still okay and I'm still regarded as clear
Mm-hmm. And
for actually
have
any
you been
measurements.
have you been on any pain medication or anything for the pain that and discomfort that you're experiencing?
The only thing that really helps is cannabis oil. And I also take MSM tablets that are found to be helping for the pain. But there's no other medication that really would help for that. And also, you cannot drink anything pharmaceutical for an extended period of time without it causing damage to organs or whatever. And then also, obviously, physiotherapy does help. So it was a huge knock when the gyms were closed because I couldn't do any exercise anymore and that kind of thing. So that's also something that's affected it greatly.
Mm-hmm. And monetary wise, how much have you spent thus far going to private healthcare facilities?
Well, you see, the thing is, what people don't understand is they think that private healthcare is free. It's not.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not.
you pay at least 70 Rand when I was there last for every person that you see. So you'll
Mhm.
pay 70 Rand to see the blood specialist, you'll pay 70 Rand to see the oncologist, you'll pay another 70 Rand to go for x-rays or whatever. So a day visit where you've got a complete number of screenings would cost you 400 Rand in the hospital. Now that is aside from petrol to get there. And I've had probably about 54 visits to the state hospital in the past 4 years, and the days that you lose, that you can't work, you can't earn an income, you can't work on what you're supposed to do, you know, that kind of thing. I mean, I would say easily 100,000 rand. And
Mm-hmm.
also medications, supplementary thing, dressings they don't give you, you know, that kind of thing. Private doctors that can help with and inject cortisone in your shoulder because at state you just don't get help. You know, they'll tell you, okay, we can make an appointment for you in 6 months. If you still got pain, you can come back for an injection.
And this is why so many people are giving up on private, I mean, on state, but then it brings the question of of private healthcare because not many people can afford it, and how many cases go unspoken of and unheard of. Yours is just one where you're brave enough to come out and talk about your situation and your ordeal, but there are so many people who wish that they could actually afford private healthcare, but they can't. And like you mentioned, with about 400 rand, that's even a small amount. Others will start at 400 rand for just to consult, for just you to go there and open a file. They'll charge you 400 rand. So that is just a minimum amount. So what do you want people to know about state healthcare and your situation?
Well, I think that people just really need to find somebody to reach out to that's been through this. You know,
Mhm.
it's difficult when you don't have anybody to speak to. I'm very vocal and I write about it. I put my pictures on social media and everything. So I just don't, you know, I think people need to understand that there is somebody that can help you, you know, but you just need to find that person. It's pretty much what I can say. Um, I try and reach out to people wherever I can, but obviously it's also a case of sometimes wanting to have the you know, to leave the whole experience behind you as well and move on with your life.
Can people reach you should they wish to do?
Absolutely, they're welcome to contact me. I can. I don't know if you want me to give my details online.
Yeah,
All right.
if you're
So
fine with that.
absolutely, they're welcome to contact me on 083 588 3550. And also, they can email me on wildheartwf.info@gmail.com.
wildheartwf.info@gmail.com.
That's right. So I've got
All
a lot of things to offer in that, where I've, for instance, completed a kit of things that you need when you go into the hospital to make you comfortable. I know exactly what they will not supply, what they would supply. I know the procedures of how the filing system works, how the administration works. So people who need advice about that kind of thing, and pretty much preparation for the whole um, situation in hospital, and also the questions that you need to ask right from the beginning, and what is acceptable and how you should be treated and how you shouldn't be treated. People don't know that.
right. It's true. People there have very little knowledge about their rights when it comes to healthcare, and it's also very sad that when you go to a state hospital or state clinic and you are met with employees who are rude, employees who don't want to help you. If you can't even ask a question like, where can I find this? And they'll just dismiss you as if it's not their job to give you this information. You're there as a tax-paying individual who needs help. I mean, why doesn't the nurse or the doctor or somebody in charge give you the help that you need? There's absolutely nothing wrong with just pointing somebody to what they need or helping someone or assisting them. I know my experience at a state hospital and clinic just left me not wanting to go back there. And I never did. I never turned back and went there, even for immunization for my baby. I said, no, I'm not going to do this. I will rather pay 60 Rand for that injection, and I'll rather pay another 40 Rand for transport to take me to a private doctor to get the immunization and spend 100 Rand a day instead of going back there, waking up at 6 a.m. and coming back at 4 a.m. I mean, 4 p.m. Spending the whole day there with a little baby. That is not something that I want to do, and that is not something that I wish for anyone as well. So thank you so much for your time, CJ, and for highlighting the situation that takes place at a state hospital. And I don't know, we hear of stories like I mentioned earlier, of botched, where people have items left in their bodies, but until people speak about it, we'll never know. And you're just one story. So we encourage more people to come forward and to share their ordeals as well, because maybe then the higher powers will hear, they will get the message and hopefully change.
Yes, that we can only hope. There's a huge disconnect between the management of the hospital, the actual specialists that are supposed to oversee everything, and the administration and the staff on the ground. And never the twain shall meet. You know, they just don't communicate with each other. And it's not a system that's working for anybody at the moment. Thank you, Maria.
Perfect. It's a pleasure. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
CJ Carrington sharing her ordeal being at a state hospital. And I know there are many stories out there. People have similar stories to hers, similar stories to mine. Being at a state hospital, it's not something that we want to relive. For so many, it's an unfortunate situation because we just have to go back there. They just have to go back there. There's no other way they can get the assistance that they need. Private healthcare is very expensive, and even if you have medical aid, you're still paying quite a bit for it. And yeah, something really, really needs to change. A lot needs to change when it comes to our state healthcare, our public healthcare facilities. And if you would like to get in touch with CJ, share your story as well, perhaps ask for any assistance. Her number is 083 588 and the information of her email is up on the screen. You can send an email to Karina on wildheartwf.info@gmail.com. Do stay with us. You are listening to the Marai Mukwanda Show. We will be right back after the break.